Okay, let's talk about proportional and non-proportional relationships. It says, Tom and Jenna are running laps around the school track. The number of laps each runner has completed is shown below. They want to know, write a rate in simplest form that compares the number of laps completed by Tom in time. So we have time and we have Tom's laps. So we would have 3 laps in 5 minutes. Okay? Then we have 6 laps in 10. Well, 6 and 10 can be simplified down to 3/5. And then we have 9 and 15, and that can be simplified down to 3/5. And we have 12 and 20, and that could be simplified down to 3/5. And then when we look at Jenna's and we do the same thing, we have 4/5. We have 6/10, which is 3/5. We have 8/15, which is simplified down. And we have 10/20, which is 1/2. Now, what do you notice about those? Well, you should notice in Tom's that they all simplify down to the same fraction, 3/5. And you should notice in Jenna's, they're different. They're all different fractions. They're not the same. And that's what we're talking about, proportions. Two quantities are proportional if they have a constant ratio or rate. So in Tom's case, they're all constant. 3/5, 6/10, 9/15, 12/20 can all be simplified down to 3/5. So it is proportional. Jenna's rates are not. So that is non-proportional. Okay? So when relationships in which ratios or rates are not constant, the two terms are said to be non-proportional. So let's look at this. Determine whether the distance traveled is proportional to the time. So we have time and we have distance. And we have 1/300 would simplify down to 1/300. 2/600 would simplify down to 1/300. 3/900 would simplify down to 1/300. And 4/1200 would simplify down to 1/300. So since they are all simplified down to the same fraction, they would be proportional. Okay? Unlike this one. So we take a look and determine the number of jumping jacks completed is proportional to the time. Well, we could say 15/10. We simplify that down to 3/2. 30/20, we simplify down to 3/2. 40/30 is 4/3. And 55/40 is 11/8. And 65/50 is 13/10. So they're not the same. So they are not proportional. Once I got to right here and found out that 40/30 simplifies down to 4/3, I'm not even worried about the next two because I know it's not proportional. Okay? Once I get to the first fraction that does not simplify down to the same number, it's not proportional. So let's look at these two. We have 6/4. That could simplify down to 3/2. We have 9/6. That can simplify down to 3/2. We have 12/8. That can simplify down to 3/2. And 15/10 can simplify to 3/2. So therefore, yes, that is proportional. Now, on this one, number 2, 1.3/1 is already simplified. 2.1 to 2 would be 1.05/1. Well, those are not the same. Therefore, this is not proportional. Okay? All right, let's try this one. 43/1 is simplified all the way down. 88/2 is going to give me 44/1. Well, right there. Again, those are not equal. So no, they are not proportional. We look at this one, we have 16 over 2, which would give me 8 over 1. 32 over 4 is going to give me 8 over 1. 48 over 6 is going to give me 8 over 1. And 64 over 8 is going to give me 8 over 1. So yes, it is proportional. Okay? So all we're doing is simplifying the fractions. If they're all the same when they're simplified, it's proportional. If there's one of them, just one of them that is different, then it's not proportional. All right. So we can use that, proportional relationships. Can also be described using equations in the form of y equals kx. K is the constant ratio. The constant ratio is called the constant of proportionality. So let's see how that's done. It says the perimeter of a square with a side of 3 inches is 12 inches. A square's perimeter is proportional to the length of one of its sides. Write an equation relating the perimeter of a square to the length of one of its sides. What would the perimeter of the square with 9-inch sides? So let's take a look at what we have. We need to set up a proportion or a ratio. Sorry, we need to set up a ratio. Perimeter over length of sides. Well, it tells me that a side of 3 inches is proportional to a perimeter of 12 inches. Okay, so 12 over 3, or simplified down would be 4 over 1, or just 4. All right. Now we could let P be the perimeter, S be the length of the sides, and we could write an equation. Perimeter equals 4 times the sides. Then if we want to know how much 9-inch sides would be P equals 4 times 9, or 36. Okay? All right. So a school is repainting some of the classrooms. Each classroom is repainted with 5.5 gallons of paint. Write and solve an equation to determine the gallons of paint the school must purchase if they repaint 18 classrooms. All right, let's take a look at what it tells us. It tells us that each classroom is repainted with 5.5 gallons of paint. So 5.5 over 1, okay? And we are to write and solve an equation to determine the gallons of paint the school must purchase if they repaint 18 classrooms. Well, we could simplify this down to simply 5.5. And if we follow that formula of y equals kx, where k is the constant, proportionality would be 5.5. And then what is y and x? Well, x would represent the classrooms. And y, in this case, and you could call them different variables, it doesn't matter, and y would be the gallons of paint. So I would have y equals 5.5x. And then they tell me 18 classrooms, so that's y equals 5.5 times 18. And so y would equal 99. So you would need 99 gallons for the classrooms. Okay? One more. Gloria earned $26 for babysitting 4 hours. Write and solve an equation to determine how much Gloria would earn after babysitting 25 hours. So if we know it's $26 for 4 hours, we could simplify that down, and we would have 6.5 to 1. So $6.50 to 1 hour, okay? Or 6.5. So y equals kx. So we could say y equals 6.5x would be an equation, where y equals money and x equals hours. Okay? So y equals 6.5 times, they want to know in 25 hours. So y equals 162.5, so $162.50. All right, if you got any questions, let me know. Have a great day.